Welcome to Authentic with Brazil 201 with an emergency podcast. As we got the news from Lucas Shaw Bloomberg literally 45 minutes ago, it looks like Netflix is now in the exclusive negotiating window to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery. According to various sources, both at Bloomberg and CNN, ir- irony here, Netflix submitted the highest bid to date for Warner Brothers Discovery Studio and streaming assets, according to people familiar with the secretive bidding process. Netflix's most recent offer submitted on Thursday was valued the Warner Brothers Studio, which, by the way, the Netflix deal is for everything except the channels and CNN, right? So they offered for all Warner Brothers Studio, the HBO Max streaming service, and related parts of the company at $28 per share. Paramount submitted a new bid for the entire company, which means everything with CNN and the channels, for $27 per share, which going by the math, because it's whatever. Now, the two offers aren't apples to apples because Paramount has been trying to buy all of Warner Brothers Discovery, including CNN. Netflix and another bidder, Comcast, have only shown interest in the studio and the streaming assets. Now, this mecha bidding war has intensified in a lot of recent days, captivating a wide swath of people from me to Hollywood and other garnering attention from the Trump White House and iconic brands like HBO and DC Comics hanging in the balance. Now, representatives for the companies involved have declined to comment, but according to leaks outside what's supposed to be a confidential process, Netflix is in sole position to win this process. Now, Paramount and the Ellisons perceived it as a way the company's the attorneys wrote to David Zaslav, expressing grave concerns about the auction process. Specifically, Paramount's attorneys charged that Warner Brothers has embarked on a myopic process with a predetermined outcome that favors a single bidder, meaning Netflix. Analysts said that the letter could be a precursor to a hostile takeover play by Paramount, which has moved aggressively in recent months under the new CNN Ellison leadership. Later, by the way, Lucas Shaw reported that Warner Brothers Netflix have entered exclusive talks. Now, the making of this bidding war. Ellison kickstarted this auction process earlier in the fall by submitting multiple bids, by the way, to Warner Brothers Discovery and the company board. Now, everyone at the time thought the bidding war would break out, and then that's exactly what happened. No one believed that Netflix and Comcast would really be bidding for Warner Brothers, right? Given that, studios rarely come on the market. And look, this happened a decade ago with the Disney Fox deal. Yes, but that was different, which is why the Paramount Warner part of it made more sense than Netflix taking over Warner Brothers. Now, the Warner Brothers board has been under pressure to do something since the company's stock plummeted after the creation of the new company, Warner Brothers Discovery, in 2022. The split planned helped to rejuvenate Warner Brothers shares earlier this year, and then these Paramount offers sent the stock skyrocketing back to about $25 a share. Now, the sources in Ellison's camp have been emphasizing that Paramount would be disciplined in the pursuit of the Warner assets. Meanwhile, people in the Zaslav camp have argued that the proposed split was the best way to realize the value of all Warner Brothers Discovery, which makes zero sense, but whatever. But if the split still takes effect next year, similar to what has happened at Comcast with the MSNBC and all the shitty assets being cut in half, um, Warner Brothers would still house HBO Max, the movie studios, the lots and all of that, and the Discovery half would house CNN and all the useless shit. But Paramount has been trying to get everything because it values CNN and wants Barry Weiss to do her hostile takeover and make it a center-right MAGA news network, whatever. But Ellison's pursuit has been audacious, to be sure. Paramount's market cap is about one-fourth size of the Warner Brothers market cap. But now, the Trump aspect of all of this. It's impossible to make sense of the Warner Brothers bidding war without understanding the whole Trump White House effect of it. Ellison and the Paramount are perceived to have a mutually beneficial relationship with the Trump and the White House. They got through the Paramount Skydance deal because the deal began through the Biden administration, and I can't believe I'm at this point where I wish Lena Khan was still there, where she had she was trying to block it the entire time or whatever. But look, um, Anyway, past administrations proudly insisted that agencies like, DOJ, which enforced these antitrust laws, were independent of the president. We know that's not true, especially with Trump 2.0. But Trump has, constantly praised the Ellisons and his father, Larry. And by the way, Larry is about to take over TikTok in 2 weeks, according to all information. But outside even the Trump White House aspect of it, many Republican and Democrat lawmakers, right? They have not cheered, but they both are mentioning the antitrust issue this happens if Netflix buys Warner Brothers. The death of movie theaters and things like that, as a lot of the deals Warner Brothers has right now are locked in, even if Netflix owns it until 2028 or 2029. But what happens after that, right? This is similar to what we saw with the Activision Blizzard deal when with Call of Duty, right? A part of these stipulations was that Call of Duty is not allowed to become an exclusive with the Microsoft Activision deal, that it's not allowed to become an exclusive title to Microsoft, and that it became too big and a bunch of other things. Um, here anyway, or all this other shit. Look, I don't I know Trump doesn't get, like, a literal veto with the Justice Department and everything, but this is also the global aspects of the merger, right? Because DC is not the only, like, regulatory battle that the media and the companies have to worry about. The whole Warner Brothers sale and the whole other part, whether it's the split or the entire thing, would face so much scrutiny in the UK, the EU, and many Latin American countries. Now, sources said that CNN told CNN, by the way, that the perception of Trump clearing the way for Ellison's would allegedly hurt them in other markets than the US. But with now that Netflix is the front runner, it seems to be the real alarms are setting, because across the world, Hollywood and fucking various markets do not like this because they already think Netflix is too big. Okay. And they think that this is a real competitive threat to every other service, lack of innovation in Hollywood. And by the way a lot of people say that if Netflix does acquire Warner Brothers, the streaming wars are effectively over. Netflix would become the undisputed global powerhouse of Hollywood, even beyond its currently lofty position. They would become the equivalent of what Amazon is to e-commerce. Netflix would be to entertainment industry. And look, I really, first of all, what do you think the Netflix HBO price will be in fucking 2 or 3 years if the deal goes through? Because either way, it's gonna, whether it was Paramount or, Netflix, it was going to take at least a year for all of it to close. So let's say this deal allegedly is signed in, right before Christmas, right? There's no way this deal is approved before January 2027. And I don't think it gets approved in fucking America, by the way. Just remember the book merger deal that the Biden White House blocked between, what was it, Penguin and Schultz and Schuster, right? This is across the board where I don't think people are going to allow this to happen. And then everyone says, well, the Fox Disney deal, by the way, was, because of how big Netflix was, right? Paramount and Warner Brothers merging together makes them similar to what is now Disney Plus. And by the way, both companies are still very smaller compared to Netflix, right? And Amazon is different. Amazon is a whole store and a bunch of other things. They're streaming. Their television service is much smaller than people realize, as is Apple, right? So now the whole thing is, if it does happen, I think then you get Paramount tries to hostile takeover NBC. I can't believe I'm in a situation, right? And I say this as an entertainment person, right? That I have to root because, okay, it is easier for the all cash offer, and to, instead of the split and all the other bullshit where like a lot of people are going to be losers, whoever stuck with the Discovery stocks, then I am hoping Ellison does the hostile takeover. This is very similar to what Elon did when he started secretly buying up Twitter shares, is that I think Ellison now is going to start buying up fucking Warner Brother Discovery shares, and he's going to try to get 15 to 20% of the stock so he can start doing a bunch of other shit. And this is the way, listen, this is even about like, oh, being allies with the Trump White House right now will obviously slow down this no matter what. There's no fundamental way. Like what, run out the clock for 3 years after like Trump is no longer president. And by the way, we all say that jokingly, but like, what if Trump is president forever, all this, or you know, JD Vance or Rubio or whoever the fuck the next potential Republican president is, who says this happens. I don't see why the Warner Brothers board, the amount of lawyer fees they're going to have to pay for the next 3 years, because the Trump look, I know Trump wants Barry Weiss to be head of CNN so that fucking she can center right, magnify it, whatever, all the other shit. Fine. Allegedly. Who really knows? Obviously. But this whole situation is ridiculous because we know, I think across the board, a lot of the anti-regular things is they're going to be like, yeah, Netflix doesn't like to release things in theaters. Who says that Netflix will honor these deals after 2028, 2029? Can you just like, do you want HBO to be a fucking tab on Netflix? Can you really think they'll let Bill Maher and Oliver do whatever the fuck they want? They didn't let Jon Stewart do whatever he want when he had the. Oh no, Jon Stewart didn't have a Netflix show. Jon Stewart had an Apple show. They didn't let Hassan Minaj do whatever they want because suddenly, when your show is everywhere, which is what Netflix is, you have to, whatever with this. I think what I personally now think, I can't believe, God, because I was looking at the Poly market odds on this, and the markets were exactly like the fucking New York City primary, where it was like, oh, Cuomo was so ahead, right? And the Zoran part was rising. This was like, oh, Paramount's been ahead the entire time. And then, the Netflix part rides, and then like Paramount shut up. And then now Netflix is most likely going to do it. And both have offered this $5 billion breakup fee, which means if the regulators do not approve, and I guess Netflix is gonna lose the $5 billion from the regulated fee and whatever the fucking lawyer fees are gonna be, because the Paramount people have hired someone from Trump 1.0 to lead it, and it's just very interesting on this aspect because, like, do you want, like, a giant fucking N in the Warner Brothers lot and all this? It's stupid. Also, Hudson Yards is gonna be really fucking depressing because I don't know if you've been into the Warner Brothers office in Hudson Yards. So, like, all the companies that are within it, right? HBO, HBO Max, the C-suites, CNN, etcetera, Food Network, all of that, they're all on separate floors. So are the floors gonna be, like, gated off once the sale happens? Because this is basically what happened with MSNBC, is that once the split happened, right, the MSNBC half, the rejects, became like, um, basically weren't allowed to do a lot of certain things in 30 Rock anymore, and as you know, they all got kicked out of fucking 30 Rock, and they're pretending Multiple Scully Roasters now is such a cool name for their network. Obviously, it's not. This is just, you know, disgusting. So what do you think, right? Like, this is bad. This is awful for the entertainment industry. This is awful for the movie theater industry, right? I don't know, which is crazy after the fantastic year Warner Brothers had in theaters. Sinners, One Battle After Another, Weapons, blah, 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 Superman, right? And look, which is interesting because Puck News released a bunch of shit yesterday, right? That Ellison was starting to court a lot of people who are having plans what to do with the Warner Brother assets, right? And I don't like that he was trying to like hang over James Gunn and not allow James Gunn have autonomy. Now, if fucking Ted Saranda says like, look, the way it currently works at Warner Brothers, right, which, by the way, was the alleged deal with Paramount with the HBO part, right? I'm talking about just the HBO and HBO Max part. They will operate independently the way they've always acted, right? Casey Bloyd will still be, like, the head of it, and James Gunn can do whatever he wants with Peter Safran. That will be it. We will not meddle in it, because also, I don't want fucking The Pit to be a binge drop. I do not want Game of Thrones to be a binge drop. I don't want Euphoria to be a binge drop. And look, either way, this won't happen for at least 2 years, the actual effects of it, but, like, do you want this? The whole purpose is that Sunday night HBO is a good TV time, okay? I don't want fucking Netflix at 9 PM to watch what, I Love LA? season 3, and also Netflix is still slow with their renewals versus, like, Casey's like, "This is what the calendar is gonna be for 2027, 2028." Now, if I'm HBO, I am putting things into production and renewal stat so that Netflix can't fuck me up. Because at least I know with Paramount, they trust it, they all want the content, whatever.